This is a vlog for the last 2 days of my trip to Japan. Day 2 has been still in Tokyo, and what we've done was we went to the DisneySea. Emma is quite into Disney franchise, and I decided why not. All in all, it has been a wonderful queuing experience, as we spent the first, actually a surprisingly short time, going through a very long queue to get into the DisneySea itself. Yeah, once we got through that queue, we went into another queue for another hour or so to get into the first ride, which was Into the Earth or something. Journey into the center of the Earth. There you go. I would say it was magnificent, but it was alright. It was alright. Was it worth 1 hour? Maybe. Maybe not. At least not for me, but at least Emma enjoyed it from the looks of it, so there you go. It was quite an interesting maze-like zigzag for the queue to get into the elevator, which was a pre-show, so that we can go down and get into the other queue. But the last queue was pretty short to get into the ride itself, and the ride itself had a number of different, well, quite interesting animatronics. The Fire Spirit was something I probably will remember for quite some time, and there was a very short drop when you go through the ride. It was like a drop, probably 3 or 4 meters really, but it was rather sudden, so felt interesting. But not very dangerous in any way or form. Honestly, a lot of the water slides had way more of a speed, I guess, or a gravity, vertigo feeling whenever you're going too fast downwards. Yeah, that was the first ride. Afterwards, we went to just chill for a bit in a mermaid area. Oh, yes, we went for another ride, for another queuing experience of 20 minutes this time. Which was, I guess, an interesting, again, technical wonder. You get into what seems like, I guess, a submarine, more like a, how do you call it?
Submersible.
Submersible, yes. Actually, yeah, it is submersible because it... no, it is a submarine because it doesn't need a mothership, technically. So there you go, it is submarine. We'll call it that, with hardly any controls, and it was totally going wrong. Our oxygen was running out, and yeah, no, it was the screens on the side of the submarine were quite neat, and they were showing
Bubbles. It was there was like an area of water in the porthole window.
Was it actual water or was it?
There was actual water just in the window bit, in that bowl of water, and they pumped bubbles through it to simulate being underwater.
All right.
And then they actually took you around a indoor ride area with animatronics and things.
Right, so there you go. Emma has explained it, that it was actually a bit of water bubbles in the window itself, and afterwards they took us to an area with animatronics, which was alright. Then went to Mermaid to chill. Chilling was good. I think that's really it as far as first half of the day. Then we had lunch, and then we went to a couple of rides.
Soaring Flight.
Soaring Flight. Soaring Flight, that was actually quite an amazing ride. Sadly, I haven't been able to capture any footage for it, but that's actually, I would say, the one highlight for the entire thing. The one recommendation. Both the pre-show is amazing and really well staged with between yeah, like digital art and projections used on the wall to make like portraits come alive and like a statue come alive as well. Really well done. And afterwards, the experience itself was us going into like a chair, pretty much. Hang glider chair that afterwards has been lifted about 20 meters, 15 meters up in the air, and in front of us was like a half dome, which was virtually simulating the experience of flying through like a wall of China, the Great Wall of China, flying through Sydney Harbor, and Tokyo, the pyramids, Everest, I think, as well. It was quite a wonderful experience as a whole, and they were using wind to simulate the direction, and if you they doing a bit of shaking as well and readjusting of the chair, but not too much. Definitely, I would say it's the only ride that really was worth the time in this entire experience for me. And I seem to enjoy more of them. Yeah, and one other ride, I guess, that was pretty thematic and curious. It had a loop-de-doo as well, where effectively the cart was moving quite fast, raging spirits. We've done a loop around, and up and down, and sidewise. Sidewise was actually a bit more interesting than loop around. But yeah, it wasn't actually all that fast. I was expecting a bit more pressure on the shoulders, but no. And actually you are well in your chair due to the gravity and how quickly the car is going. It was quite fun because you go through like the area with fake smoke as well. So the photography itself outside of the ride was way more exciting than the ride itself. So yeah, give or take. As a whole, it was quite a curious experience. It feels like it's a very nice theme park, in case you haven't been to any of the places that Disney has been inspired by. But yeah, one area did feel a bit like Arabian Nights, Turkey, Istanbul. Obviously not the same mosques that you would see there. Not quite the same stone, but cartoonish, similar. Yeah, honestly, it was a pretty good memory for me for my previous traveling in those places. There was a castle, what was very German-like, and yeah, it was a good experience to remember how those castles actually look like. Harbor, there was an area for American districts, which was well done. Definitely. I feel like I haven't, like, when I've been to America, I actually haven't been to an area like this, which was early exploration period with bars, pubs, lanterns as well. It was kind of a bit more modern, I'd say modernized America, but not quite industrial age yet. Curious. And afterwards there was also Mediterranean area, which did make it feel like it was bits of Italy where I've been, not far from Milan. Probably they were trying to go for a bit more Venice-like feeling. Yeah, it was pretty neat. And in the end, it all ended with a light show, which was Believes Air Dreams. Sea of Dreams. Feel, spirit, what is it? Feel, believe, and something else. Anyway, I'm now a believer in dreams and other things. Truly. No, the singing was nice, and the actors that were in the boats, swimming around, they were doing excellent dancing, excellent animating their characters. They're quite far away, but still nice. I forgot to talk about something that clearly wasn't very interesting. Sinbad ride. There was a cool cat there. Cat was awesome. Very nicely animated. And possibly, yeah, I should be able to put some video for it too, because I feel like that was one of the few areas which was quite easy to actually record. Yeah, no, it is nice seeing as you are in a boat that is on a wire, effectively going all the way through Sinbad, through the Arabian Nights, and through the travels of an Indian prince. Who is he? Sinbad. That was curious. Pretty sure my mother read me some books about him back when I was really young. Yeah, and that's it. And afterwards, it was a trip back to the hotel in Tokyo, and nothing more to add really on the second day. Now, the third day was honestly more exciting, even though it was just traveling. We had our usual breakfast, and afterwards checked out, which was nice and quick experience as a whole. Just put 2 cards into the electrical machine, and that's it. It eats it, and you walk away happily. There was a bunch of Russians, no, actually not Russians, probably Ukrainian Russians, from the eastern side. All of them spoke Russian, albeit with a bit of a Ukrainian accent, and was a large tour group as well. Yeah, no, it was very curious to find them, because they look like Russians / Ukrainians, and they talk like Russians as well, and yeah, behaved as well with regards to getting themselves food and other things. So yeah, just fun. They occupied pretty much the entire cafe with their group. And there was one tour guide as well who was running around with like 15 different passports. Yeah, reminded me of the time when I feel like I remember that experience when around Turkey as well. I've seen a number of other Russian groups like this, which were also running around with a tourist agent who had all the passports. Yeah, curious. Other than that, we went to the station, caught the bullet train. Was the first time ever I rode a bullet train. It was a pretty fun experience as a whole. I would say we missed out on seats next to each other, but during the train ride, one of the people who was next to the window for me left, so I actually got to see a bit more of the country and the rural area on the journey towards Nagoya, where we pretty much left our bags at the station and then hopped on another train to what's the name of the castle? Inoyama Castle and Inoyama area. It is one of the oldest castles that's still standing. A lot of the castles have been destroyed during the Meiji period, when all of the feudal places were demolished, and people didn't want to see any signs of samurai, really. And at that point, this castle actually survived because it was just an inconvenient spot. And afterwards, it was a very far away area for America to bomb it in World War II. So unlike Nagoya Castle, this one also survived. So yeah, one of the oldest castles in Japan, still standing, national treasure, and it is a wonderful place. We had a very nice guide who talked us through all the different areas of the castle. It is a 4-story castle, 4 or 5-story castle, and it only consists of the central area, which indicates its age as one of the older ones. It has only a bit of Chinese influence, as they've added extra windows, curvy windows on the higher floors, and it is pretty steep. It really is a well defensible location because the stairs are pretty much going vertically upwards, and yeah, if you are samurai and you are trying to get up on your kid, or even just without any kid, honestly, whoever has a height advantage is an amazing spot and can quite easily push you away or stab you with a spear or something else. It's yeah,
there's no way to brace yourself from a push.
There is pretty much impossible to brace yourself from a push there, and really well designed, I would say machicolations, but unlike in European castles, which often had machicolations, which is an area where the tower gets extended by a bit, and afterwards there's a number of holes in the floor. Instead, the Japanese castles just have windows, but the bars are in a diamond-like form, which allow for better angle than like a diamond-like form, and allows for better shooting angles into all the different directions. There were also a number of places for dropping oil and dropping stones, but all of those areas were at the back of the castle, so it's mainly for stragglers who are trying to flank and climb on top, which was viable actually, because the stone was very rough. There were large spaces between the stones, and honestly, V1, V0 best if you compare it to boulder climbing. Really quite trivial to get all the way up to the top windows. Yeah, and afterwards we hopped back. We went down through the couple of streets that were well preserved as well, and had a number of different old houses. Got ourselves a drink or two. One drink for me, one drink for Emma. Very nice. Yeah, I got myself a nice tea, and Emma got herself like quite an interesting mix of mixed berry and soda. But yeah, it is both sour and sweet drink at the same time. Really tasted very nice, and the berries were nice to eat afterwards too. Yeah, and then we head back to the train and hopped on to another our first sushi here, which was not that different honestly from what we can have in New Zealand. And on the other hand, the rice bowl with sashimi that I had was so good that I actually forgot to take any photos of it, so that just indicates how much I enjoyed it. I ate it all, drank the soup, drank the green tea as well, which was provided, and my orange juice, which I ordered for no other reason because I didn't realize we were going to get a green tea. Yeah, that's about it. Hopped onto another train into Osaka, and that's where we are at the moment. That's all. Ciao.